Good evening and welcome to TC Network. I am Tingnay Tim Hoki bringing you today's news. Today's top headlines include Kuki-Zo community launches total shutdown demands Union territory. Demand for Union territory intensifies amid recurring false propaganda as Go-To launches total shutdown. Myanmar rebel group reject junta peace offer. News in details. As per the order of Kuki in Manipur, a total shutdown was called upon all Kuki-Zo inhabited areas as a precautionary measures against the alleged attack upon the Kukis on the 28th of September by the Arambay Tengo, backed up by the various Meitei militia groups. In accordance with that, the student bodies of Lamka, such as the Kuki Students Organization, Jomi Students Federation, and various others called a total shutdown in the district today. Total shutdown was also called by Committee on Tribal Unity Go-To in Gangpopi district for 48 hours starting from 6 a.m. today. Tengnoupal district also observed today as a total shutdown as per the instruction of Kim, the apex body of the Kuki community. All local businesses and establishments remain closed in Lamka, Gangpopi, and Tengnoupal districts respectively due to the total shutdown. Volunteers stood on duty at various selected locations, and state and central forces were also deployed in all vulnerable areas to prevent any unwanted incidents. In Gangpopi district, the women volunteers were strict on their calling of the total shutdown by standing on duty at National Highway 2 at Gangpopi district headquarters and Gamgi-Pai. In More and its surrounding areas, the village volunteers were on high alert since the Boulder town, which is also a threat center, is very much coveted by the majoritarian Meitei communities. Today's total shutdown was called as a precaution against Meitei attacks since it has been evaluated that there is high chances of Meitei's attack upon the Kukis on the 28th of September. The Kuki women also urged the government to listen to their demands for a separate administration in the form of union territory with legislature. Officials say that educational institutions were closed in Kuki majority districts, while business establishments were closed in almost all the hill districts of the state. Markets remain closed where movement of private vehicles was also restricted, they said. The Indigenous Tribal Leaders Forum (ITLF), an organization of the Kuki community, earlier said a total shutdown will be observed on Saturday. Hundreds of people took out a rally in Gangpopi to protest against the claim of the government. Security advisor Kuldeep Singh had on September 20 claimed that security forces have taken a number of steps in the wake of reports that 900 militants might carry out violence in peripheral villages of Imphal Valley districts. Security officials on alert. The state government on Wednesday, however, reiterated the claim and asserted that the likelihood of any such misadventures by armed groups is minimal and unsubstantiated. Security forces, however, remain vigilant in the peripheral areas of the valley to ensure no armed attacks takes place, according to an official. Meiteis account for about 53% of the state population and live mostly in the Imphal Valley, while tribals, who include Nagas and Kukis, constitute 40% and reside mainly in the hill districts. Following a massive protest rally on Thursday, the Kuki-Zo community in Sadar Hills, Gangpopi district, initiated a two-day total shutdown denouncing the persistent false propaganda campaigns that have overshadowed the region since the outbreak of violence on May 3, 2023. The shutdown, organized by the Committee on Tribal Unity Go-To, began at 6 a.m. yesterday, bringing all types of businesses and private institutions, including schools, to a halt. Vehicular movement, except for exempted services, was completely restricted, with volunteers, predominantly Kuki-Zo women, monitoring key areas, including the National Highway 2 at Gangpopi district headquarters and Gamgi-Pai. Exemptions for medical services, airport operations, religious activities, and media were closely monitored, requiring valid documentation for passage. The Kuki-Zo women articulated their strong condemnation of what they describe as recurring ethnocentric propaganda perpetrated by the Meitei-dominated state government, a narrative they believe is designed to marginalize their community. One protest leader emphasized the persistent falsehoods labeling the Kuki-Zo community as outsiders have reached an intolerable point. We are not immigrants. We are indigenous to this land. The uproar was further fueled by recent claims from the Chief Minister's office, alleging that 900 Kuki militants have infiltrated Manipur from Myanmar. The Kuki-Zo women leader stated that both the Director General of Police (DGP) and the State Security Advisor have publicly refuted and clarified the false propaganda regarding the influx of 900 Kuki militants into Manipur, which the State Security Advisor had earlier claimed was 100% correct. This is not just about politics, it's about survival, the protest leaders declared, questioning how much longer are we to endure these fabrications that only serve to strengthen the majoritarian rule and vilify our community? The shutdown highlights the Kuki-Zo women's call for complete separation from the current governance structure of Manipur. Advocating for a union territory with legislature, they argue that the rule of law has collapsed under a system dominated by armed militias and biased governance. Without a separate administration, the Kuki-Zo people are left with no guarantee of safety, security, or justice. We are denied our rightful place in a land where we have lived for generations, she lamented, encapsulating the sentiment of the gathered crowd. This protest marks the beginning of a series of demonstrations aimed at peaceful yet resolute self-determination, with organizers emphasizing that the leadership of Kuki-Zo women reflects the community's strength and resilience in the face of adversity. As tensions between the Kuki-Zo and Meitei communities remain high, the demand for a separate administration continues to grow, with reconciliation appearing increasingly distant. Two tragic drowning incidents occurred yesterday at different places in Churachandpur district. Around 7 a.m. yesterday, a 9-year-old boy named Jacob, son of Kim Ngai-Lun of Nait Silveng, drowned in the Tuita River near Nait Silveng. Jacob was a Class 2 student at VK Montessori School. While playing football with friends, the ball accidentally fell into the river, and Jacob, while trying to get the ball, accidentally fell and drowned. Local organizations including Kuki Khanglai Lompi, KKL, and Mar Youth Association were immediately informed of the incident, where they rushed to the scene to help retrieve the body. However, due to the rising water level and the muddy water, it was quite challenging and they failed to retrieve the victim's body. KKL and HYA volunteer arranged an ambulance and carried out search operation from Kerit Bridge. They requested volunteers to cast net over the rivers at various bridges in the downstream, such as the bridge in Ebenezer, Elgam Nomzang, Si Munkot, Dailhan Pai, Songza, Saidan, Tingtom, Til Sai Henzang. The area MLA LM Khaute, MLA Churachandpur AC, Paulin Lal Haukip, MLA Saikot, and Lun Thangzom proprietor Cafe Eureka arranged refreshment for the hardworking rescue volunteers. In another incident, around 4:30 p.m. yesterday, a 1-year-old child fell from the window of our home at Biola Lane, Lailam Lui, and died. The child's mother, Kham Son Lun, tried her best but failed to reach her child, and sadly, the strong water current had carried her downstream. Many philanthropic organizations rushed to the scene at the earliest, and rescue operations were carried out immediately. The search operations continue. The search for the two victims' body today as well, but unfortunately, positive response is yet to be heard from them. ZYO General Headquarters, HYA Rengkai Branch, YPA, YMA, and other CSO continued the search operations at various places. The two children's bodies were yet to be recovered at the time of this report. Regarding the incidents, Nang Jathang, president of ZYO General Headquarters, expressed condolences and urged the community to take precautions to prevent such tragedies. Dorcas Veng residents, frustrated with delayed government development funds due to the state crisis, took matters into their own hands. The Dorcas Veng Defense Committee initiated the road construction, focusing on Tedim Road and Dorcas Road Junction with their own labor and funding. Despite lacking government support, locals contributed a sum of rupees 500 per household and labor as well. A joint meeting on September 22, 2024 between church organizations, institutions, Young Paiti Association, Village Authority, and Dorcas Veng Defense Committee decided to construct the 2.7-kilometer road, which is in very bad shape. Residents, tired of waiting since 2015 for government to renovate their locality roads, funded the project themselves and did the labor work themselves as well. The community acknowledges the highway's importance but prioritized their local road, emphasizing self-reliance. Chairman T. Chin Khantang expressed pride in their collective effort, overcoming obstacles and financial constraints from the government. The road, 16 feet wide, will have a water-bound macadam WBM surface, which were labeled in all corners through JCB. Locals are determined to complete the project, demonstrating resilience and community spirit. A coalition of over 45 concerned women leaders, human rights activists, journalists and citizens from Northeast have expressed their outrage over recent threats made against Bablu Loitongbam, a prominent human rights defender from Manipur. In a memorandum addressed to the President of India, Draupadi Murmu, the group called for immediate action to address the escalating violence in Manipur. In a memorandum submitted to the President, the group expressed outrage over a mob attack that occurred on September 23, 2024, when approximately 50 young men reportedly threatened Loitongbam's family at their residence. The assailants warned that dire consequences would follow if Bablu was seen in public. This incident followed a press conference held by members of the Meitei Slipun, who made false accusations against Loitongbam and discouraged collaboration with him. This is not the first time the human rights lawyer has faced threats. His home has previously been vandalized by similar groups. Loitongbam, a highly respected lawyer, is the founder of Human Rights Alert HRA, which provides legal assistance to those in need. He has long advocated for the withdrawal of the Armed Forces Special Powers Act (AFSPA) and has fought for justice for victims of extrajudicial killings and enforced disappearances. The memorandum also highlighted that this incident is not merely an isolated case but a troubling indicator of the broader climate of fear and violence in Manipur. The signatories called attention to the failure of both the state and central governments to ensure safety and security for all citizens, particularly those who champion justice and peace. We are alarmed by the escalating violence and intimidation tactics that target voices calling for peaceful coexistence, the memorandum stated. It is imperative that the government confronts the enablers of violence and guarantees the safety of human rights defenders like Bablu Loitongbam. The group stressed that the citizens of Manipur deserve to live without fear and coercion, calling for decisive action from the central government to hold accountable those who perpetuate violence. They expressed concerns that without such accountability, any efforts towards peace could be undermined. The state is responsible for the security and safety of all its citizens, but especially of people like Bablu Loitongbam, who speak for justice and peaceful solutions, the memorandum added. The activists further urged the central government to take decisive action against those perpetuating violence and to create an environment where dialogue and justice can flourish. The police in Mumbai have stepped up security in crowded areas after central agencies alerted about a possible terror threat. According to police sources, security arrangements have been ramped up at many religious places and other crowded places in Mumbai. Police personnel have also been told to conduct mock drills at religious and crowded places, sources said. The DCP's Deputy Commissioner of Police of the city have also been asked to pay special attention to security arrangements in their respective zones. Sources also say that temples in the city have been instructed to remain alert and report any suspicious activity as a precautionary measure. We have been asked by Mumbai police to increase the security of the temple. We have been asked to pay attention to all the security arrangements, Sada Sarvankar, the chairman of the Siddhi Vinayak Temple Trust, told NDTV. Police on Friday also conducted a mock drill in the crowded Crawford Market area, which houses two famous religious sites. Officials, however, said it was a security drill ahead of the festive season. Mumbai, which celebrated the 10-day Ganesh Chaturthi festival this month, is now preparing for Durga Puja, Dussehra and Diwali. Elections to the 288-member Maharashtra State Assembly are also likely to be held in November. A 50-year-old man and his 4 daughters, all of whom were specially abled, were found dead in their rented home in Delhi's Rangpuri area on Friday morning. Police suspect a suicide pact. The victims were identified as Hiralal, the father, and his daughters Neetu 18, Nisi 15, Niru 10, and Nidhi 8. According to police, Hiralal, a carpenter, had been living alone with his daughters since his wife died a year ago. All 4 daughters had disabilities. Neetu was visually impaired, Nisi had difficulty walking, and the nature of the other daughters' disabilities was still under investigation. CCTV footage showed Hiralal entering the house on September 24, allegedly with a box of sweets. After that, nobody was seen entering or leaving the premises. When police arrived at the scene on Friday, they found the door locked from the inside. The Delhi Fire Service was called to break open the door, and the bodies of all 5 were found inside. While the bodies of the girls were in the bedroom, their father's body was in a different room. All 5 were foaming at the mouth. Sacred thread was tied around the girls' necks and waists, sources said. Pouches of a poisonous substance were found near the bodies, and a tetra packs of juice and a bottle of water were found in the room's dustbin. A box of sweets was also recovered and sent for forensics. The bodies were sent for a post-mortem examination. According to a preliminary probe, police suspect Hiralal poisoned his daughters and after they fell unconscious, consumed poison himself. Police are investigating the circumstances that led to the incident. A massive fire broke out at Tata's iPhone plant on Saturday morning in Tamil Nadu's Krishnagiri. The fire started in the mobile phone accessories painting unit of the company around 5:30 a.m. Several workers were on duty at the plant when the fire broke out. However, 7 fire tenders were deployed to douse the fire and to evacuate all employees from the premises. At the time of the incident, around 1,500 workers were on duty during the first shift. While the cause of the fire is currently under investigation, no injuries were reported in the incident. Several videos surfaced online showing thick smoke billowing from the manufacturing plant. A Tata Electronics Private Limited (TEPL) spokesperson in a statement said there has been an unfortunate incident of fire at our plant in Hosur, Tamil Nadu. Our emergency protocols ensure that all our employees are safe. The cause of the fire is under investigation, and we will take necessary actions to safeguard the interests of our employees and other stakeholders. A top police official said that 3 workers who experienced respiratory issues were admitted to a hospital for treatment and are said to be in a stable condition. The official said that over 100 police personnel have been deployed to help out in the affected areas. Days before Haryana Assembly election 2023, the Congress Party on Friday, September 27, suspected its 13 leaders for 6 years of anti-party activity. Among the leaders who were expelled is Sajan Singh Dhul, the former candidate from the Pundri and Pai Legislative Assembly, who joined Congress last year in December. In an official notification, the Haryana Pradesh Congress Committee said it received reports that these party leaders or workers were indulging in anti-party activities by fighting the ongoing assembly election against the party candidates. The move is aimed at curbing indiscipline in the party added. The leaders who have been suspended include Naresh Dhande from Gula, SC, Assembly Segment, Pradeep Gill from Jin, Sajan Singh Dul from Pundri, Sunita Batan from Pundri, Rajiv Mamuran Gondar from Nilokheri SC, Dayal Singh Sirohi from Nilokheri SC, Vijay Jain from Panipat Rural, Dilbek Sandil from Uchana Kalan, Ajit Pogat from Dadri, Abhijit Singh from Bhiwani, Satbir Ratira from Bawani Hira SC, Nitu Man from Pritla, and Anita Dul Bat Sikri from Kalayat. Congress had earlier expelled 3 leaders including Chitra Sarwara, Rajesh Jun, and Sarda Rathore. Chitra is contesting from Ambala Kant as an independent candidate. Rajesh Jun has entered the fray as an independent candidate from Bahadurgarh, while Sarda Rathore has filed her nomination from Balabgarh. Amid infighting in the Haryana Congress, the ticket distribution process left many leaders unhappy, leading to rebellion within the party. The conflict between Israel and Hezbollah took a decisive turn on Friday after Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu voted at the UN to press his country's offensive against Lebanon's Hezbollah. Soon after Netanyahu's address, Israel conducted airstrikes in which at least 6 buildings in Beirut's southern suburbs were flattened after Israel pounded Beirut with heavy bombs. The strikes hard across the city sent huge clouds of smoke soaring above the densely populated south of Beirut, the main bastion of Iran-backed Hezbollah, according to media reports. Enemy warplanes carried out a series of strikes on the area of Beirut's southern suburbs, Lebanon's national news agency said. Lebanese television showed plumes of smoke rising from several locations in the area. The Israeli strikes leveled 6 buildings, the source said, requesting anonymity as they were not authorized to speak to the media after the Israeli military said it carried out a precise strike on the group's central headquarters, as reported by news agency AFP. Israeli military spokesman Daniel Hagari said the strike targeted the central headquarters of Hezbollah in the southern suburbs of the city. Meanwhile, an AFP report citing a source close to Hezbollah said the Hassan Nasrallah was fined after a massive Israeli strike on Beirut's southern suburbs on Friday that Israeli media said targeted the group's leaders. Sayed Nasrallah is fined, the sources said, requesting anonymity as they were not authorized to speak to the media. Leading Israeli television networks reported that Nasrallah was the target of the strike. The comment came after leading Israeli television networks reported that Hezbollah chief Hassan Nasrallah was the target of a massive Israeli airstrike in a Beirut suburb. Target of the strike, Nasrallah. The IDF Israeli military is checking whether the Secretary General of Hezbollah was in the building in the heart of Dahieh that was hit, Channel 12 reported. Public broadcaster Can 11 said, target of the strike in Dahieh, Nasrallah. Rebel groups have rejected a peace offer from Myanmar's embattled junta, which is reeling from battlefield losses and defections in a civil war that has dragged on for more than 3 years. This is dictatorship's first such outreach since it seized power in 2021. It also comes after a ceasefire brokered by China in the northern Sun state fell apart. The junta called on ethnic armed groups and terrorist insurgent groups to communicate with us to solve political problems politically, also urging them to join elections planned for next year. The Agile National Unity Government and UG said the offer was not worth considering, adding the junta had no authority to hold an election. The junta extended an olive branch Thursday as it struggled to fight on multiple fronts and stem a widespread rebellion. Some reports say the junta now has control of less than half of Myanmar's territories. In June, an alliance of 3 ethnic armies renewed an offensive against the military, seizing territory along a key highway to China's Yunnan province, which borders Myanmar. The fighting near the border in Sunset has blocked China's ambitious plan to connect its landlocked southwest to the Indian Ocean via Myanmar. Beijing's top diplomat Wang Yi is thought to have delivered a warning to the country's ruler Min Aung Hlaing during a visit to Myanmar last month. Armed groups should follow the path of party politics and elections in order to bring about lasting peace and development, the junta said in its statement on Thursday. The country's human resources, basic infrastructure, and many people's lives have been lost, and the country's stability and development have been blocked because of the conflict, it said. But the rebel groups are skeptical to the offer. The current National Union, KNU, which has been fighting for decades with the military for more autonomy along the border with Thailand, told AFP news agency that talks were impossible if the military agreed to common political objective. Number 1, no military participation in future politics. 2, the military has to agree to a federal democratic constitution, KNU spokesman Pado Soto Ni told AFP. Number 3, they have to be accountable for everything they have committed, including war crimes and crimes against humanity, he said. No impunity. If the junta does not accede to these demands, the KNU will keep putting pressure on the junta politically and militarily, he added. Muang Sungkha, the leader of the Bamar People's Liberation Army, told Reuters news agency that his group is not interested in this offer. They are hanging God's head but selling dog meat, So Tu Yajo, commander of the Mandalay People's Defense Forces, wrote on Facebook. After the military ousted Myanmar's democratically elected government in 2021, peaceful protests were met with killings and arrests. These led ethnic armed groups to join forces with anti-coup militias across the country to fight back, plunging the country into a civil war. At least 50,000 people have been killed since the coup and more than 2 million people displaced, according to the United Nations. The UN warned last week that Myanmar was sinking into an abyss of human suffering. Eyewitnesses had previously told the BBC about how the military has tortured people in its custody, including by pouring burning petrol on them and forcing some to drink their urine. Former President Donald Trump and Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy met Friday to discuss plans to resolve the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine in New York. After the meeting, Trump said he had learned a lot, but that their talk had not changed his stance that negotiations could bring an end to the war. We both want to see this end and we both want to see a fair deal met, Trump told Fox News at Trump Tower in New York. The president wants it to end and he wants it to end as quickly as possible. He wants a fair transaction to take place, he added, referring to Zelenskyy. The meeting kept a tense week between the Ukrainian leader and Trump, which saw the pair trading verbs in the press and the Republican presidential candidate questions U.S. aid for Kyiv 5 to repel Russia's President Vladimir Putin's invasion. Before the meeting, the former president had offered praise for Zelenskyy while insisting he wanted to help resolve the conflict. We are going to work very much with both parties to try and get this settled and get it worked out, Trump said. It has to end at some point, it has to end. He's gone through hell. The verbs and insults of the prior week hung heavy over the proceedings, though with Zelensky's offering a wry smile when asked by a reporter why he was sitting down with the former president. But Trump largely praised the same Ukrainian leader he had spent recent days ridiculing on the campaign trail, repeatedly thanking him for his handling of the controversy over a phone call Trump made in 2019. Trump was impeached over the incident in which he repeatedly pressured Zelenskyy to investigate political rival Joe Biden and Biden's son Hunter. He could have grandstanded and played cute, Trump said, lauding Zelenskyy. He was like a piece of steel, he said. President Trump did nothing wrong. Zelenskyy detailed his peace plan, which he also presented Thursday at the White House to Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, Trump's opponent in this year's elections. This war should not have been started, Zelenskyy said after their meeting. Putin killed so many people, and of course we need to do everything we can to pressure him to stop this war, and he is in our territory. Trump insisted his relationship with Putin could bring a swift end to the war. We have a very good relationship, and I also, as you know, have a very good relationship with President Putin. And I think if we win, I think we are going to get it resolved very quickly, he said. Trump had stepped up his criticism of Zelenskyy in recent days, deriding the wartime leader as the greatest salesman in history for convincing the U.S. to provide billions of military assistance to help Kyiv. That is all for today's news, and have a pleasant evening ahead.